This, I want to bring in KTVU political analyst Brian Sobel. Looking at the map right now, Brian, what is the message from voters across the country tonight?
Well, first of all, the popular vote, 5 million popular vote difference between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. That's interesting. Greg set this up perfectly. The blue wall that the Democrats wanted to hold does not appear to be holding at this hour. That gives Donald Trump a pathway to victory.
And it is not holding. Why?
Because I think the campaign of Kamala Harris underperformed across the board. I think, she had 107 days to campaign, probably not enough. She spent $1 billion, by the way. So she should have been able to get her message out there. But all of the controversy around not sitting down for interviews and that sort of thing, all a problem. But always in these things, the economy leads the way. And people ask themselves, am I better off? And I think a lot of people are saying, no, I'm not better off.
Can you explain why that 5 million popular vote gap this time around, at this point in the race between Harris and Trump, is significant? Because at this point, was the gap that big between Trump and Biden 4 years ago?
No, and the difference is that the post-election, we're going to look at which groups voted for whom and that sort of thing, and we'll learn more about it. But the 5 million difference is at this hour.
And she's underperforming in a lot of those suburban counties that Joe Biden did well. I mean, Miami-Dade County in Florida flipped for Donald Trump, which is not something you would expect, especially compared to 2020. And so all of those urban, suburban areas, she is underperforming. In Detroit right now, the numbers so far, the votes are still being counted. She's underperforming there when you compare it to 2020. So to Brian's point, perhaps the economy outweighed a lot of what other people saw in democracy as well as reproductive rights.
Because so many families out there right now, I think CNBC had a report just last week that families of 4 making $150,000 a year are living paycheck by paycheck. Think about others who don't even make $50,000 a year,
and you're
trying to buy gas, but that all came to tonight. Yeah,
you're seeing inflation come down, right? You're seeing progress being made, but enough wasn't made on her part to be clear about what that economic policy was exactly going to be. She said, look, I'm going to work for the middle class and work to be those things, but certainly what we are seeing, at least still with votes to be counted, and early on, we should be stressing that. But still, right now, those are the numbers that are being reflected.
What's your reading of her decision and the announcement that she's not going to speak to at the podium tonight? Is that an admission?
I mean, I think that's tough, right? Because you want to hear from your candidate. And the campaign has been clear that they always thought the blue wall, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, was their clearest path to 270. And it certainly still remains that way because votes are still being counted in those 3 states. But regardless, if you are waiting to hear from your candidate who could make history, is poised to make history, you want to hear from them that, look, votes are still being counted. We are still confident in what is happening.
So why was that decision made, you think?
I think it's curious because either her internal polling is saying this isn't going in the right direction and we're going to put a lid on it. That's the phrase that is used. And we'll pick it up in the morning. But to Greg's point, you want to hear from your candidate, and just not coming out is problematic.
It just seems early. I know it's 1 o'clock back east, but it does seem a little bit early.
Well, we're going to hear
at least address the people in the crowd tonight.
Well, I guess what we're going to hear from Donald Trump is somebody spiking the football.
Yeah.
I think he's going to say, hey, our polling is telling us that we're going to win this thing.
And if you go back to 2020, you compare the numbers. There were great leads for Donald Trump the night as many people were going to bed. And then in the morning, we saw many of those vote-by-mail ballots being counted, and then a total shift in 2020. And that is certainly something the Harris campaign could have been clear about, that they had expectations that this could be a different race by morning.
But to counter that, as you said, some of the trends that we saw 4 years ago with the popular vote totals and the results in some of the suburban areas, that doesn't indicate a positive outcome.
And I think, candidly, you had people that were waiting for hours to be in this process with you. In the symbolism of being at Howard University, a historically black college, the place that raised Kamala Harris to be the politician that she is, you wanted to hear from her. And to not hear from her, surely a disappointment for a lot of people in that crowd.
Absolutely.
All right, Brian, Greg, thank you very much. We appreciate that. We'll bring you